Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. I don't necessarily regret my decision to jump off the Hindenburg over the Atlantic, but I think it's kind of gone from one problem into another. Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to Gary's Mod. And today, the map we're going to be exploring is the long-requested Alpine Mesa. A map set in the Half-Life 2 universe, and that is about all I know. But from the look of it, there's going to be a pretty big mega base, most likely. There's a fish in my pocket. Anyway, we've got quite a cliff to scale. Thankfully, somebody put a staircase right here. Is it clipped? It is not. What kind of dystopia have we washed up in? It's so calm, though, isn't it? That was one of the cool things about Half-Life 2, is when you weren't being chased by the Combine or fighting through some fortress, you could see the remnants of the world that they didn't need, that they didn't have use of. And often, it was actually pretty nice. It kind of used those moments to give you a breather in between all that stuff. Ah, okay, wait. It's dangerous, but there is a clip hack. The rail, if you can call it that, is a ramp. Oh, that sucks. Don't look that way. Don't look that way. It may just be VR, but heights have the same effect. Let's go. Why do I keep doing that? All right, because it's a video and I need to show you something. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is one sharp-looking skybox. Okay, so where to? We've got two different tunnel entrances. Well, with any luck, maybe the other one is one of those Wile E. Coyote ones that's just kind of painted into the cliff face? Doesn't seem so. Well, look, this one stays level going into the mountains, so maybe this will be a better place to start? Oh, that's dark. But I can see the headlights of a vehicle within. Something tells me I'm not going to find anybody to help here. It's military. Engine left running, but no one inside. I keep imagining horrible things when I catch a glimpse of vague shapes against the light on the other side. Wow, this one's completely burned to a crisp. And somebody's flashlight left on the ground here, which does not bode well for me, Explorer number 2, does it? So, in adventure stories, it's always supposed to be a foreboding moment when they step over a skeleton or discover the belongings of a past adventurer. I had the opposite attitude. I mean, when you step over their corpse, you're clearly doing better than they did. That is so pretty. It's a dark and ominous tunnel, but on the other side, you're greeted by an oasis of light. And the mountain once again staring down at you, a familiar sight on the other side. Ooh, and there's even a gas station in this little cutout. Judging by the overgrowth, it's been empty for quite some time. Maybe it's got those late 90s gas prices? That might be a little bit of wishful thinking. Okay, I can hear on the bright side that it has power, but on the negative side, it doesn't seem to be functioning properly. Actually, seems to be functioning quite dangerously from the sound of it. Buttons. Is this place able to lock itself up? Let's let some light in. I guess we can't. It's strange. Some things, like the running truck, make it seem like this place was only recently abandoned. But stuff like this... Well, the generator's trying to run, but this is completely overgrown. Sending some real mixed signals here. There's a little shack in this cage. Oh my. Something tells me this connects to whatever that other tunnel led to. Well, we're gonna keep trying to go down the road. I mean, who wants to go underground when you can not go underground? There's always an underground facility in these maps. And later on, I'm probably gonna speculate on why that is. Oh. At least there's life in this canyon. Crickets and cicadas and birds and frogs. It at least makes for a nice ambiance to accompany my journey, which will no doubt be taken away once we inevitably have to go downstairs. And who am I kidding? Of course it's an underground facility that takes place in the Half-Life universe. All anyone does is build secret bases, but honestly, I think that's part of the appeal. I mean, what kid doesn't want a sprawling underground complex? They're just cool, and they're a lot of fun to make, I bet. Just keep adding detail, adding complexity, adding things to make your dream Doom Fortress a dream Doom home. I don't know what I'm talking about. Huh, a little pond. And something beyond said little pond. Oh wow, there is a lot more to this than I was expecting. The surface, I mean. And it's hidden away back here. If you weren't paying attention, you could easily mistake it for the end of the path. It's another base entrance. But look, there's not even a road leading to it. It doesn't even look like there ever was. But there's a gate here, and honestly, I don't know why this looks so familiar to me. For some reason, I feel like I've seen this before. And granted, I have explored any number of underground bases. Maybe it's like a smaller version of GM Bacon Industry. Oh, this is the ultimate urbex find. I can't get in there. You know, I've actually had, like, nightmares about being in a situation where I find, like, the greatest place ever, but it's so huge that I know I'm never going to be able to photograph and document it all. That's actually not a fan for a vent. That's a very crude attempt at boarding. I don't think we're going to be able to open this door, but maybe we can come out that way? Let's see if there's any controls inside the gatehouse. Even if there were, they wouldn't work now. Okay, let's head back the other way. Hey, look at that. There's a log spanning the gap. got a hill sloping upward. Hopefully that means some kind of above-ground structure. Or maybe they're just slanting upwards so that we can have a taller ladder to climb down. Oh, they're so wide of a space. It is pretty, though. I wonder if the occupants of the base would be allowed to just come right up here for their leisure time. It seems to end right here, though. All right. Can we make it? Yep. Yep. Almost didn't touch the water. Yeah, I can see over a wall here. And it looks like maybe some kind of hangar. This map is sort of reminding me of GM Trench, which I also explored recently. Although, in that case, it took me the entire video to discover the secret hangar. Well, if nobody's here, I'd like to go have a look at whatever aircraft are in there. If it's an A-10, I could even fly it. There is a side gate. And it's open. Let's see what's around this way first, though. So here's another take on creepy and comfy, and it's one that I've certainly had to contend with a lot in these videos. On the one hand, creepy. Where is everyone? What was this place? It's clearly somewhere I'm not supposed to be, but is there anyone left to enforce that, or am I only going to find out when it's far too late? Comfy. This whole place is mine. I can do whatever I want. It's like that montage that's in every zombie movie where people just kind of go wild, taking what they want from the stores, playing on all the abandoned carnival rides. Oh, what's not to love? Can we get through here? Yes, and in fact it goes down into what I bet is the same tunnel that we passed on before. Well, you know what? I'm currently committed to staying outside for as long as possible. Because, well, you know me. When I'm down underground for too long, I start to feel like I'm suffocating. And who doesn't want to save the best suffocation for last? Ooh. Another vehicle left abandoned. Oh, look, the hangar is collapsed on this one. Those lights are still blinking. This one's intact. And so are its rocket pods, missiles, and gun. I mean, if we had just one of these things, we could totally take the fight to the Combine and do a lot of damage, right? I mean, granted, maybe we just never see the worst of it, but this is something you see in a lot of sci-fi media. Like, because they want to make sure that there's actual ground combat for infantry, these FPS games in the future never acknowledge that we have better weapons now. This is in pretty rough shape. Is there anywhere we can go from here? Doesn't seem so, although with that switch over there, we can probably close the hangar doors. I don't think there's really much use for that. But perhaps over there? Or even over here. Oh, there's so much. I can already tell this map is going to be huge. Klaatu Parada Nikto. Look at that! Hey, you're not gonna shoot me when I walk through these doors, are you? Just checking. Well, at least it's decently well lit, which means we don't need the flashlight. We may, however, have need of the safety Glock. Let's do this. I don't think I'm making myself seem like less of a security threat, but I also am not sure it's going to matter. Okay, we can put you away for now. Just unless there's danger. That's a familiar hum. And here's where we start trending downward. Ooh, restricted access. I love restricted places. That's where they keep the good stuff. Okay, jerk. Be passive-aggressive about it. That must be where the elevator comes down. So wait, are we being observed in here, or are we the ones doing the observing? It seems like this is probably where you watch people coming down and validate their security, right? Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm not nearly so sure. Are you telling me that there's going to be some kind of biological check that has to happen? I wonder what kind of research this place would have been doing, because it does actually say on the workshop page that this facility is a sister location to Black Mesa, hence the name Alpine Mesa. However, it was left relatively untouched by the 7-hour war. Not entirely untouched, though. It looks like somebody tore at the electronics. There's so many branches. There's another elevator coming down, although not from too far. Simple storeroom. Okay, well, I'm glad at least that not everywhere is going to be a wild goose chase. So all that's left this way is to see where the elevator goes. This one, however, actually goes down. The one at the other end of the hall was the one that we came from. Hello? Do I not have clearance? Well, I'll go the other way then. Am I gonna have to sit through this airlock again? I'll tell you what. No, I'm not. These security losers never thought of me, did they? It's just a whole lot of empty rooms. And pointless rooms. Okay, bathrooms, showers, very bright in here. But I'm guessing then that this would be like staff headquarters or quarters. It's just door after door. This place is basically the back rooms. Okay, when did we make the transition from secure government facility to evil lair of an ancient boss? It's an elevator. Alright. Well, forget you for now. We've got other things to see. Some kind of transformer room? Well, let's take the advice and not touch anything. Even further down. A ladder to a lower level. And here's the bunk beds, although I'm finding that this place is very space inefficient. You could easily fit a lot more bunk beds here. Unless this area wasn't supposed to be staffed by very many. There's staircases all over, and I imagine they go to different places. And it seems like the levels are color-coded. At least we can use that as a shorthand to figure out where we are. And here's that. I think there's something inherently appealing, you know, about being in a facility that just never seems to end. All of it underground, endless possibilities to explore, never knowing what you're going to come to. Huh. Seems they've created a little course for us. See, this to me feels like a firing lane, like they were setting up a deliberate series of kill boxes so that they could force an enemy through a certain area and then retreat. Also, the dim lighting doesn't help. Nor do the blast doors. But it doesn't seem like any battle ended up taking place here, just that they were expecting one. Either that means it never came and they vacated peacefully, or whatever came didn't even give them a chance. Know your fire exits. That's hilarious in a place like this, because this is so winding. There's an aircraft elevator. That is so cool. That is so cool. I guess it was meant to operate in the mountains and launch a strike force without being detected, or at least not being detected until the moment they're needed. All right, wait, hang on. Gary's mod won't let me look into the thing. Here we are. Only opens from one... Actually, no, it doesn't. I could have used the other scanner. Never mind. I really do wonder what it is that's so appealing about these sprawling underground bases that leads to so many map creators to make them. I mean, I had said before, I think part of it is that it's the kind of thing where you can just keep adding to it pretty much indefinitely until Hammer's limits. And it just kind of gets cooler and more complex the more you go. It's not that hard to make. At the same time, the idea of being someplace you're not supposed to be, of constantly getting deeper and deeper, not knowing what you're going to find, and knowing that you can bury some serious secrets that deep, I don't know, I guess it's the kind of thing that allows your imagination to really run wild when you're making it. Control room. Well, maybe this place wasn't entirely untouched. Then again, I'm not so sure that all of this is here, because that looks like a desert. That might actually be the Black Mesa facility. Maybe the people here were helplessly watching all this go down, knowing that sooner or later it would come for them. Look at that. They've got the big map. Every control room needs the big map. Looks like we've got a series of satellites in orbit, too, monitoring something. I do wonder if the Combine would have done anything about human satellites. I mean, after the occupation, I doubt that anyone could have made much use of them. But maybe they'd be curious about the technology. Maybe they would want to make sure that there's absolutely no way it could be used. Button. Oh, I see. It's probably for lockdown, so that you could fortify this place, make a stand here. And here's the washroom. Yep, totally needed a dedicated room for this. With all these little airlock type things that aren't really airlocks, something tells me that the door guy was scamming them. I'm telling you, it's all laundering by Big Door. These vents are indented and very present, and it makes me wonder if there's not something through them. Okay, probably not. The safety lock punches above its weight. It tends to do a lot of damage in Source. But I think we've not been through here. This is where the elevator comes down to. Listen to that grinding of metal. This is appealing to another part of the brain. The megastructure part of the brain. How this whole place is not just a shelter, but a machine, you know? My question is, once again, where to now? Alright, we're coming out over here. Now we can use it. But I guess it needed authorization from down below. Yep, this is safe. There we are. So here we can climb these stairs, which we already know go back to green level. And this to the mess hall. Awesome. Although, once more, it seems to be very underutilized for the amount of space they have. Hamburger. Chicken burger. Vegetarian burger. Hot dog, jumbo hot dog. Okay, I'm not going to do this for all of them. With these prices, you know it's the 2000s that it was abandoned in. Huh. They're really, really trying to sell these things, huh? But I guess the advertising budget was limited. Unless they're testing more subliminal methods. Honestly, knowing Black Mesa, I wouldn't be surprised if even the mess hall was unwitting research. Okie dokie. Well, I guess it's not so crazy that there's a McDonald's in the Pentagon, along with many other food places. There's not even surface access here. I mean, this may be above ground, but there's no door. Huh. I still can't figure out where I'm supposed to be going, though. You just saw that flicker, right? Oh my god! Well, that was lucky. Maybe not so lucky. What have I just uncovered? This place is lucky, though, that this flooding hasn't risen up a couple more inches. It would be pouring into the generator room. Okay, we're back in Glock mode. Let's get our footsteps back. Wait, what is this? Why is this here? Okay, I don't think we're messing with whatever that is. This kind of reminds me of GM's Stormwald, how it had that one flooded cell block far below the rest. And there's a wind carrying through here. Anything up there? No. Oof. Oh! We're back here! Okie dokie. Well, everything worked out in the end. Alright, so clearly this gas station was part of the facility, but it's meant to look like a civilian gas station. There is actually another tunnel over there. And so far, this map doesn't have a habit of faking things, so since we've been underground for some time, let's just take a moment to catch our breath, huh? Wow, it really does look pretty cool from here, doesn't it? You know, Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 1 both had a tremendous sense of scale, but they did it in very different ways, and interestingly enough, it seems like both types of scale are on display here. And we had these huge outdoor environments with open skyboxes and being able to look out to sea and look down the coastline. But then we've got the sprawling mega base underground with all kinds of elevators and lifts and technology, all the vents to crawl around in. Right now, we're going back underground. Sandbags and headlights. Looks like they tried to make a stand here as well. For certain. But again, it doesn't look like this battle ever happened. Also, and it wouldn't be outside of the possibilities for Black Mesa, but it seems like all these vehicles are nuclear powered. For them to be running after this long. This tunnel is collapsed. It probably does lead to the hangar, but we can't get through here. However, maybe there's another way? Do you think the lighting changes to accommodate the creepy noises, or vice versa? Locked. I can hear something on the other side of this door. A generator. Hopefully this one's not close to flooding. Oh, I expected to see a ramp going up onto daylight. Instead, I was met by a wall of darkness. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Well, that's one side of the facility. Now, what about the other? Well, that's 2 out of 3 tunnels exhausted. Just one more to go. With all this dirt caked on, the moss growing through the cracks in the pavement, it's another one of those things that makes it seem like it's been empty for far longer than the vehicles would lead you to believe. And it just covers so much surface area, even without seeing what's below. I mean, from satellite, which I'm sure is the point, it probably wouldn't look like there's very much here. But I can see a pink little glow from the darkness. Oh wow, this is advanced darkness. Oh wow, that's the kind of darkness that completely wraps around me and suffocates me the second I'm inside. And cue the eerie gusts of wind. Thankfully, that's the end of the road. Hey, they forgot their poster. Somebody just put one of those reflective stickers. Cool. Seems like this tunnel's got slightly bigger side infrastructure than the others. Up until now, it's been like urban exploration. Now it's more like a nightmare that's trying to lead me to a conclusion. Down a linear path into the monster waiting at the end. Or a fairly normal-looking facility. Well, look, cars left in the parking lot? Here we are. This must be the main research facility. So the airbase was like the military arm of this. This is where the research is conducted. And there's another tunnel over there. Look at that. 3 cars still left in the lot. Everyone else, I guess, skedaddled. And this tunnel came with its own blast doors. So this entire thing has been the facility, and this is the entrance. Although I imagine that probably curves around to the collapse that we saw before. Yeah, we've got some missing textures here, but that's alright. Probably just lines in the pavement. Let's do a full 360 check and go inside. Wow, it's like a glass-enclosed elevator, and from here we can get a hint at just how far down it goes. I mean, it was one thing checking out the fairly Spartan military base, but this is built for style, meant to show off the technology. Oh, and there's something hidden in the back corner as well. If I had to guess, potentially another emergency tunnel exit? Nope, just the storage cube. Gotta hide the storage cube in the back so that nobody comes back here and sees your stash of Tamagotchis and snacks. Is there at least a shotgun in the back? No, no such luck. I feel like once you've gotten through all the layers of security that are probably outside of this place, by the time you get inside, the security guards are more Andy Griffith-like friendly guy to greet you as you come in. You can afford that luxury when you have attack helicopters defending you. But let's step inside. This is so cool. With that front desk, it kind of reminds me of the Cyberdyne building from Terminator 2. Which is probably why I love this so much. Look at how, like, modern and clean it is. Once again, this is a place that's designed to show off the high level of research they're doing here. Even the monitors still have their logo displayed. And everything is so reflective, too. I mean, everything about this is meant to show you this is the future. We are essentially a wizard's tower of the modern day. Ha, stupid thing didn't even pick up on the safety lock. Or if it did, there's no one to do anything about it. So there's an elevator over there. But where to next? If we come around to the security guard's checkpoint, we can see that spike in the monitoring software is presumably us coming through. There's also a switch on the wall there. We can put the place into lockdown if we so choose. Maybe I don't want this door to be closed behind me. I'm actually far more worried about something coming from in front of me. Can I not undo this? Does it just have to run its course? Oh god, what have I done? I mean, if nothing else, it's annoying. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with that. So So here's the thing. When it comes to a facility like this, it really lets the imagination run. I think that's the other part of the appeal of an endless underground base. It allows you to build and explore in layers. And every time you make it another level down, you get the impression you're closer to some truth. Something that's been left behind that wasn't meant to be. Look at that, they've got a bar and everything. I don't drink, but I can at least do this. I love the future. I talked about Tamagotchis earlier, and I still remember it was like 2003 or something like that, and one of my friends brought in a Tamagotchi and was showing it to me, and I was like, man, this is like some Black Mirror stuff. I mean, Black Mirror didn't exist, but yeah, I didn't know the half of it. Those are some giant chip bags. Okay, I think that's about all we can do here. We're gonna have to take the scarier elevator, the one that goes down into the depths. But if we're gonna continue being a modern-day anarchist, we can just kind of drop down this way. The dilemma, do we watch the door like a cool guy, or do we watch the glass like a curious guy? Oh my, this is going fairly deep, isn't it? We're descending into the hive. And yet the sunlight that pours down from here, if only just a little bit, makes it feel like we haven't gone that far down at all. Still, now this is looking much more like the Black Mesa that I know. And it makes me wonder if those security cameras weren't actually here. If that is the case, then maybe this place wasn't quite so untouched. Definitely a place for data analysis. This one's a bit comfier, but what is it that they're monitoring? Whatever that is, it looks fairly complicated and probably scary. I mean, look at that. It kind of looks like a mouth. A square mouth with some rotted teeth, ready to clamp down on your fingers. Can't really read any of what's on this screen. It's crazy down here how they alternate between this granite, marble, and the bare metal. It's like they ran out of money, or it's really more like in a Minecraft build when you run out of the materials you want. Here are those same security cameras. But yeah, we can definitely say for sure now that that is a different facility. You know, maybe the fanciness is part of the creepiness. I mean, it's the contrast between the comfort, the luxury, and the reality of what it is they're doing here. It's not much different from a mad scientist's lab. They're just more organized, just got better PR. Maybe whatever led to the downfall of this place doesn't even have anything to do with the Combine. Toxicology. Report to administration for a lab research progress update. Dr. N. Ayers. The specimen for today's work is ready for collection from aquatics. Dr. L. Tart, personal. Your requested records are ready for collection from administration. Please return them after use. And a message which was deleted. It says no update in 36 hours, so maybe this is actually in the immediate aftermath of the 7-Hour War. If that's the case, then maybe the decay on the surface is actually just a ruse, part of the disguise. Abstract art. Just what you need right before you use the bathroom. And some massive stall doors, but what kind of contraption of a toilet is that? Now in this place, I wouldn't be surprised if it's some kind of quantum toilet. Sends your waste to parts unknown. The women's room is locked. Still aquatics. Were they doing some kind of marine research? Not gonna lie, I saw the movement of the screensaver behind there. It is blinding bright. I thought somebody was moving out of view. Unfortunately, none of these screens give me any hint as to what's actually going on behind those doors. I would like at least a little bit of a heads up. Wait, is there something written on top of there? That maybe looks like plans for some kind of gun? Dr. Foreman, here are today's tasks. Please have them complete and in order on my desk by noon. Dr. Horn. Oh. No, this isn't the safety glock kind of danger. This is the hold your breath and walk out as quickly as possible kind of danger. I see. God, that is such negligent storage. How does that even happen in a place like this? Then again, despite all initial appearances, maybe this is in worse shape than we thought. Much worse shape. Is this a collapse or is this growing on the walls? That's plant life. Is this some kind of exotic flora that was found here, or is this some kind of Zen incursion? This room right here alone raises a lot of questions as to what actually happened here. This says fire exit, but I don't really trust that. So instead, let's go the other way. Take it one level at a time. You say fire exit. We'll see how true that is. We will see indeed. You've got your own tram system, just like Black Mesa. And it looks like we're gonna need it to get to the other side. Wow. This facility is different in some ways, but in others, it's actually very much like your sister location. Alright. Let's see where this upper ladder leads first. Oops. Come on. Let's see where this thing leads first. Because this means there's an upstairs exit that I wasn't aware of. An elevator. I'm concerned about where this is taking me. right now with no glass, I have no idea if I'm heading up or down, especially with how difficult it is to actually push buttons in VR. You said fire exit. Here we are! We're under this side! Feels like so long since I've been here. Alright, back underground. I think it's time for a train ride. I don't know why it's so immersive to actually be able to reach up and put my hands through the handholds. Oh, something really weird was just happening with my view. We're gonna not do that anymore. But how do we actually start this thing? Those are for the doors. I'm not seeing any way to actually use this. And it probably wouldn't be operable from inside the tram itself. We can climb down the ladder, but I don't want to go through the water. I'm not seeing any way to get this moving. Maybe I could get out and push? Alright, I guess we'll try the other ladder then. That was the smoothest transition onto a lower ladder I've ever had. And here it is. It's taken us an hour to get here. But here's the catch. Looks like there's light on the other side. Blood, like something needed its kill in privacy. But no corpse. And no other sign that anything happened here. This seems to be running parallel to the tram line, so maybe it leads to where it's going. None of this looks good. Oh yeah, no, none of this looks good at all. I don't much feel like pressing that big red button next to the explosive canisters. Access hatches. I don't know if that display actually does anything, but we'll keep it in mind. May need it for later. For all the optimistic messages of a better future up above, this is the reality that claims to get us there. That may not look like much, but it says a whole lot. A single discarded fire extinguisher in a remote hallway. Nowhere near a holder for one. So who brought it here, who dropped it, and why? Oh, this is the tram tunnel. This is that little bridge thing in the center. This must be the gate that controls the water flow. I wonder if this has a reason for being here, maybe coolant for the facility? Or if it's just another security measure. Well, I can't get through there. Oops. How am I supposed to do this? Oop. Oop. Yep, 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 come on. Oh my. I feel like the protagonist of every 2000s action-adventure movie. There's always the scene where they're in a cramped vent set and have to look down. Deep Blue Sea comes to mind. I can hear that portal radio music through here. I guess that means we're close to something, right? I used to really be into sharks as a kid. I watched a lot of shark movies, and I discovered a lot of garbage, enjoyable garbage, that I otherwise would never have found. Hey, look, somebody else tried the same thing as me. That's one vent we don't want to break. Kind of makes me wonder what's going to be around the corner. Not a whole lot, and that's the worst thing there could have been. Well, I mean, I suppose a bloody corpse and the thing that made that bloody corpse, that would have been worse. A bear, a tornado, 6 ghosts, Saddam Hussein. I actually feel kind of dumb for saying that nothing is the worst thing that could have been there. Wow, this is really winding. And I can't even hear the portal radio music anymore. I've got no company. This is definitely the Half-Life experience, though. Now, by my calculations, we should be heading towards the other end of the tram bridge. I think. Maybe the trams weren't working and people tried to escape through here. Oh my god! Nope. Nope. Look, there's certain maneuvers that just aren't easy to do in VR. And I have to make sure that I don't end up having to go all the way back. I guess somebody figured if they couldn't get out, they could at least go out in style. Wait, are you telling me I was near this at the beginning, or that there's 2 radios in the vents? Well, there are 2 flashlights. Maybe 2 people had the same idea. All right, let's see if we can make this little hop. It just barely works. All these reflections, look. I can practically see... Look at that! I can actually see the control room through the walls. These are some weird reflections. Everything is so slick on this map. I don't even need the flashlight to explore this vent. Well, here's something. That might be the most time I've spent in vents in one of these maps. So, where are we now? That's what I thought. All that effort to come this way. Let's hope there's something worthwhile. Is there any way to get this moving so that we don't have to put all that effort into going back? I didn't think there would be. Okay, let's try this elevator then. Let's also be ready on the draw. Anything? I was just about to check if there was. Alright, let's try it. Once more, the ghost of the control room haunts me. Maybe I'm just taunted by visions of the relative coziness of that place, the secure locked doors, and the wash closet. Simple pleasures, that's what you gotta look for in times like this. This looks a lot like where I came from. Alright, let's save authorized for last. What?! This is where I came from. Alright, let's try that again. This time going upward. I saw some movement there. It looks like it does go upward. But where to then? No way! This is the elevator that I thought wasn't doing anything before, or that I was going to come back to later and forgot about. It goes all the way back. The tram connects the airbase to the research facility. Okay, well, I think now would be a very good time to try for our no-clip run. Yep. Look at this. The way it divides the land up. It actually kind of is just like two completely separate facilities linked by that one bridge in the middle. It seems like there is one thing that we still have not explored. Hello? I don't think we ever took this elevator here. No, we never did. Right here is the collapse tunnel where that Zen floor has populated a cave and seemingly spread out into the facility itself. But there's something above it. Come on. I think we're not done yet. I really wish these elevators made more noise to indicate that they're actually doing something. Yet for some reason this elevator just isn't working. It's not going up, so we're just gonna no-clip this one and see what's here. Well, something, that's for sure. This looks more like a cell. Did they have human unwilling test subjects? I feel sorry for whoever was in that one at the end of the hall. What is this? Imagine trying to escape this facility and finding the fire exit completely collapsed. And an elevator not working. This looks more like a flooded mine shaft. But it does potentially go to the surface. Well, look, with the front doors of the main facility locked and the state of the rest of this, it might be our only chance. Even if it didn't work out for someone else. VR and ladders. It kind of feels like this was all abandoned even before everything that went down, but for what reason? I always love when I think I'm done with a map and there's something that just gives me the heebie-jeebies. What is that? What is that? Hang on, hang on, hang on. Alright, we've got some lights at least. Oh, that was a... Oh, that was... What's moving up there? I thought, like, that was the light. I see that now. It was the light bulb and the thing that it screws into. I thought it was like a forehead and the bridge of a nose. Kind of like a certain stairway-based SCP. We've opened the front gates! All this was right here. So this part of the facility was left abandoned. So maybe it was still partially active when the 7-hour war happened. However, it was on its way out. Or maybe the fact that they were built into an existing deprecated base was part of its cover. It would certainly explain the clash of conditions. Only thing, I never actually did figure out what was going on up here. But it goes back quite a ways. Yep. Oh, this just comes down onto here. I don't see how you'd access that, but yeah, anyway, that was GM Alpine Mesa. And this was really cool and ambitious. Like, admittedly, the facility itself was kind of a lot smaller than I was expecting. But the unique twist on this is that it's actually 2 separate bases that are actually pretty far away, all connected by this underground system. Meanwhile, it's actually got a lot to explore on the surface, which definitely helps it stand out from other maps of its type. Not to mention, it's not just dedicated to being as scary and spooky as possible. It's actually fairly nice looking. I mean, the military base looks like a military base, but look at this other base here. This actually looks inviting. It looks like some place where all these suits and CEOs and executives would actually want to kind of put in their marketing material. Which actually only makes it even better when you realize that there are human containment cells down below. Plus, it's got these little references to Half-Life. All this alien flora coming out down here, seemingly starting to take over the facility. But that was a recent development. And I kept talking about how the further you go, the deeper you go in these maps, the more you feel like you're going to uncover the dark secret, what it was all really about. And even the workshop page kind of misdirects you on this. It says this place was barely untouched by the 7-hour war. You can see that they were aware it was happening. They didn't just leave or vanish. We can see places where they set up fortifications and defenses. But it seems like it's all for a fight that never came. The only evidence we have of more is one single bloodstain right down here. And we never get so much as another hint as to what that's about. Let's try this button now that we fear no death. Yep! Hey, look, it did exactly what I thought it would do. What is that over there? No draw. Well, if that's not a contradiction, I don't know what is. Actually, look. I just came back here because I thought I might have seen something out of the corner of my eye. There is another level to this. At least we'll get to explore it while the lights are on. Look at how narrow this gap is. I can't help but think of the Rat Man on GM13 hotels. We're not getting through this. This map just keeps getting the impression that there is some darker secret, but that it's been rendered inaccessible Possibly quite conveniently for whoever ran this place. In here. Contaminated area. I get the impression this facility is supposed to be much larger than what we can actually see. I mean, they talked about a specimen being delivered to aquatic studies. But I think this really is about all there is to see. I kind of wish it had explored some of the ideas that it hinted at a little bit more, but I do love the idea. You spend so much time on the surface, there's so much to explore up here, that when you come upon these seemingly disconnected installations, well, it definitely adds a sense of scale when you realize that they are actually just one conjoined facility underground. It's just all hidden in the mountains and the forests. But I didn't jump from the Hindenburg into the ocean for this, so I think maybe wherever I'm going, I'll probably want to just start walking. And if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this map out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, we are going to get home in style, I tell you what. All I need to do is find some manuals so I can get this thing back up into working order, and then learn how to fly it.